Today we will be making spider web op art. So last week we looked at black and white op art. This week we're going to learn how to have those optical illusions, but using color. Okay, so for this project you'll need a piece of paper, you'll need scissors, a pencil, and a ruler would be great, but you can also just use the side of a book to make your straight lines. You don't need a ruler. And crayons or colored pencils, your choice. You cannot use markers for this. It will not work, but you can use crayons or colored pencils. So I need to make my paper square. It comes rectangle usually, so I need to make it square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this corner over and I'm gonna keep rolling it until my two sides line up. Okay, so now this lines up nice and straight with this side and I can press it down. Now I have a triangle shape and a little rectangle at the bottom. And if I cut off this rectangle shape, I will have a square. So that's my little trick for making my paper into a square. And I open it up, there it is. Now I can also, now that I have this already with a diagonal line across, I can actually fold it the other way so that I get like an X fold in the middle. So I'll fold it this way, and now you can see that there's an X shape folded. Okay, so now I have my square. I've folded it twice, so I have a folded X going through my paper. Now I'm gonna get out my pencil and I'm going to draw over this X line. Now my ruler doesn't really reach, but that's okay. I can just scooch my ruler down after. So remember, you might be using a book or a folder. You don't need to have a ruler. So I'm going to make a line, scooch my ruler down and finish my line. And then I'm going to trace over this fold as well. So I'll make a line, scooch my ruler up and finish it. And now I have an X. Okay, after you have your X in pencil, you can add a line going straight down. And then I'll do a line going straight down here. So now I have 8 equal slices, like a square pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we are going to be turning our paper into a spider web design. I call it a spider web design because I think it looks just like a spider web. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be adding curved lines around my work, okay? And I want them to meet back at the same spot. So I'm gonna start really close to the middle and I'm gonna do a curve here. Then I'll do the same curve here, and here, and here. And I wanna stay close because I can start getting really big and then it's gonna be hard to go back to the beginning. I need my spider web to end right back in the same spot. So I'm gonna keep adding curved lines, and then when I get to the end, I go back to the beginning. I have my first star, and it met right back at the beginning. Okay, now I can start my second star shape. So I'm gonna scooch up a little bit and I'm gonna make a bigger curved shape this time. Then I'm gonna connect this one to this one. Remember, I have to meet back at the beginning. So I'm gonna stay nice and close to my little star. I'm gonna keep adding curved lines all the way around. And I try to really make it touch on the line, okay? We wanna make sure that we're not stopping early. We want our points to touch the lines, okay? So I'm going to touch that line. And now I need this one to connect back to the beginning. Awesome. Here's a helpful tip for when you're making your spider web. So I put my project to the side because I want to show you something that sometimes happens. So sometimes when we're doing this project, our star starts to get really far out. And then it's really hard to bring it back to the beginning. Okay? So I try to keep my star nice and close. So I'm going to start my next star. Now sometimes it's even easier if you make little dots for yourself. So I'll make a dot here, 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 just so that I know that I'll be able to go back to the beginning. So I can start at this dot and add a curve, go to this dot and add a curve, go to this dot and add a curve. Don't worry if your curve comes out a little wavy like that. Sometimes that happens. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to connect this dot, and then I have to come back to the beginning where I started my star. All right? Don't worry if your curves don't look just like my curves. It's fine. It's going to look amazing when you color it in. Now, at a certain point, you're going to run out of space. I think I can do one more star, so I'm going to do one more. I'm going to actually make some dots to help me. I'm going to do a dot here and here and here and here, and then maybe I'll do them there. So I'm going to do a curved line, keep going around. The wider they get, the trickier they get. So just take your time, go nice and slow. If you make a mistake or you don't like one of your lines, you can always erase it. You can always start over too if you just needed a little bit of practice, no big deal. Okay, so I cannot fit another star. But if I have a lot of space here, what I could do is in the corners, I could add a little kind of curve on the side. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but it kind of fills up your paper. I add a couple little curves in my corner. It's almost like a star that we can't really see. But skip that part if you'd like. You don't have to do that. Okay, now my whole paper is filled with my web. If you like your web, go with it. That's the web you can color. If you feel like it was tricky and you want to try again, then grab another piece of paper and try again. It only takes a couple of minutes to do the web. So if you're not happy with it, I really recommend starting over. Okay, so I'm going to be using colored pencils, but again, you can use crayons for this. You cannot use markers though, okay? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pick a slice to start with. So this is the slice right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have every other space be a color. So I'm going to color really light. So I'm going to do this purple. I'm going to do this purple. I'm coloring very lightly and I'm filling the whole space. And then I will color this space purple. Now I can do the other spaces a different color. So I'll do red. Again, I'm coloring very, very light because I'm going to be adding dark areas in a second. And I want to start off nice and light. Once you have your slice colored in with every other space being a different color, then we can start adding darker value. This is what's going to make our project look 3D, okay? So on the edges along my straight lines is where it's going to be darkest, and the middle of the slice is going to be the lightest. So I'll start with purple. I'm going to do dark on this side and dark on this side. I'm going to do a dark area here and then get really dark on the edge. Then I'm going to do a dark space here. And then I'm going to get really dark on the edge. I'll add a dark area here and then get really dark on the edge. That really dark edge is going to make it look super 3D. I'm going to do the same thing with the red. Add some darkness on the edges. I'll do it here too. I'm going to do a dark red edge here, get a little lighter as I move to the middle. So now it's starting to look a little bit 3D, like it's curling in or popping out. So this is why we can't use markers, because you can't get this type of dark and light value with markers. You can only get that with crayons and colored pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this to each slice. If you need a break, you can always stop and take a break and come back to it. It takes a while, so I don't expect that anyone would finish it in one sitting. If you feel like yours doesn't look that 3D, you can always go in and add a really dark edge, because it really makes your work pop. So I could go in and really darken up my edges. The darker your edges are, the more 3D it's going to look, okay? Okay, your web should take you at least 30 minutes. It probably took me even longer than that, but this is not something that can be rushed. You really need to take your time. And if you want to make it look even more three-dimensional, you can take a dark colored pencil like blue or purple or even black and add a darker edge to your light colors, because it's really hard to make yellow and orange look like it has a shadow on the side. So I like to use my blue marker, my blue colored pencil, and add a darker edge